shocks CNN anchor by questioning Syria gas attack narrative. And what's most telling about this video is how this woman, this anchor woman, is pushing for war any way she can get it. She wants us to bomb Syria right now. And if you think he's exaggerating, you tell me if I'm exaggerating when you're finished listening to this. What is it?
Kind of modern.
Please. Okay. Sorry, you're going to have a little bit of that in there. Unless maybe, let's see. Okay. Psh. Solved. Let's get into this. This really, it pissed me off, I must say.
Very important day. Joining me now, Republican Congressman from Kentucky, Congressman Thomas Massie. Congressman, thank you so much for the time.
Thank you, Kate. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. You've seen these horrific images. Let's talk about Syria first. You've seen these horrific images of people, children, coming out of Syria right now. No public statements no public comments from the president yesterday, but then a statement. He calls it reprehensible, but then the president blames it on Obama, saying this in part. He says these heinous actions by the Bashar al-Assad regime are the consequence of past administrations' weakness and irresolution. Congressman, is the solution to this problem blaming the president before him?
It breaks my heart to see those images of the victims, I have to say that. Let me tell you, Kate, the only issue I've received more phone calls on, other than the Affordable Care Act, if you will, was going to war in Syria in 2013. President Obama said that Assad crossed a red line in 2013, if you remember, and he said that we should go to war with Assad, that Assad must go. And he came to Congress. Authorization. We never gave it to him because constituents melted our phone lines. Frankly, people want us to take out ISIS, I believe, but it's dubious as to whether it serves the American interests to take out Assad.
Right, but that goes directly to my question. The president's only public statement so far has been to blame President Obama for inaction. Is blaming President Obama the answer here?
I don't believe so. I'm not going to blame Obama. He's gone. It's our...
First of her jobs on her agenda, on her check-off to-do list, is to get him to say that Trump is wrong for blaming Obama for this. That's number one. Then she gets to other things. Let's see.
It's ours to deal with now, and, I appreciate that President Trump campaigned on a more restrained foreign policy, and I hope that's what we see in Syria and North Korea.
So you have fellow Republican John McCain. He has a very different position than you on Syria. I want to play for you what he said this morning and what he would like to hear from President Trump following this. Yeah. Listen.
I want him to hear him say, we're going to arm the Free Syrian Army. We are going to dedicate ourselves to the removal of Bashar Assad. We're going to have the Russian
Free Syrian Army, or moderate Muslims, moderate refugees.
Pay a price for their engagement. The Iranians and Hezbollah are also heavily involved. All players here are going to have to pay a penalty, and the United States of America is going to be on the side of people who fight for freedom, and we will not sit by and watch chemical weapons being used to slaughter innocent women and children.
That's John McCain speaking out yesterday. Congressman, as you are against intervention. You say that is what you hear from your constituents, and you say that's what you heard from your constituents previously. But as you sit here today and you see these images coming out of the slaughter of innocent children, does that change your view?
Well, with all due respect to the senator from Arizona, he's wrong. And he's not expressing the will of the American people. But I hope that the senator and I can agree that President Trump cannot unilaterally attack a country. He cannot commit an act of war against a sovereign nation without a vote in Congress. So this really isn't up to Rex Tillerson or the president at this point.
If the president of Syria is committing crimes against humanity, slaughtering his own people, do you think there is something short of going to war with Syria that you can support? Your fellow Republican Adam Kinzinger says yes. There is something short of that. You can ground Assad's Air Force. You can crater the airstrips that the Air Force is taking off from to commit these atrocities. Can you get on board with that?
Well, I can't speak about classified information on TV, but I can tell you, according to the Washington Post, we've been spending $1 billion a year in funding the rebels in Syria to no good effect, frankly.
Right, but that's not funding the rebels. What do you think about grounding? What do you think about grounding Assad's Air Force?
We had testimony from a military expert in front of Congress that said that's a virtual act of war in Syria, and that we would be at war with the Russians at that point. I think it's a bad idea.
Earlier today, Congressman Bana, she's a little Syrian girl who's become really the voice of all Syrian children in this war. She spoke to CNN, and here's what she said that her wish is. Listen.
Let's listen to what a 7-year-old. Let's listen to a 7-year-old and what she wants. You know, and all. No offense, but who gives a shit what a 7-year-old wants? And it hasn't helped in Pakistan. He'll tell us in a minute. So, in other words, all she wants is peace. She's going to say, oh, I just want peace. And, you know, for all the children to be able to go to school and to be able to play outside and have peace. Yeah, well, when we attacked Pakistan, we just made it worse. And, you know, so. And why are we asking a 7-year-old? Because she's trying to play on your heart. She wants you to say, oh, my God, I feel so bad. She wants you to say, you know what, maybe it shouldn't be America first. Maybe we should care about this. And again, I question the whole thing. I mean, why? Right now, Assad has President Trump was talking with Assad. Things were going great. We were, you know, if not on their side, but a neutral. And everyone was neutral with Assad at this point. Things were going so well for Assad. Why did he go and gas his people out of the clear blue sky? Maybe it was some sort of a terrorist group designed to look like he did it. That's more like what would most likely happen. So going to war with Assad, just, you know, at first, but then again, I mean, I just found out about this a little while ago, and I heard that Trump is not liking what he's seeing, and he's talking about going to war, and Tillerson is talking about going to war, and even the alternative media, like me, not me yet, but some are saying, you know, Trump, man, I will totally stop supporting you if you go to war. So, you know, and you know what I think? I think Trump is just, I hope. See, Trump doesn't tell you when he's going to bomb you. So if he's telling you he's going to bomb you like he's doing now, you know, I know I'm adding words, but bomb you. But if he says he's going to do it, maybe he's really not. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm not. I don't know, I'm very skeptical. And I have a right to be with what's going on. I think if you're not skeptical, you're crazy. Anyway, I'm going to let this poor little girl tell us what she wants, and what this lady here is trying to say, yeah, you know what, we need to go to war because this little girl wants peace.
I want to stop the war, and I want the children.
You know what your mother wants? She wants to take that thing off her head and not be beaten for taking it off. I'm sorry. They should have just had the little girl reading the script like she's obviously doing, and while her mother's obviously reading the same script. They really should have just cut this woman out of it because she's just angering me.
Children of Syria play and go to school, live in peace. Together we can help them. Together we can save them.
To be clear, what she said right there is that's all she wants. She wants for the children of Syria to be able to play and go to school. She's pleading for help. What do you say to her, Congressman?
Yeah. We want you to be able to play in peace too. I'm sorry. We get it. Everybody wants every kid to play in peace. Okay? We're not the only country in the world. I say someone else should jump in. What about China? Doesn't China want... Don't Chinese people have a right or an obligation to do the right thing? Don't they have an obligation? Why aren't they doing it? How come everyone in America isn't pointing to China like, how dare you not help them? What the hell? The political correctness over, even with the 7-year-old little girl crying on the screen. I'm sorry. I'm freaking done. I'm done. I'm very sorry for the little girl. I feel terrible. But I'm done. America first. My little kids first.
I think what she's asking for is something that all children should enjoy. And I think that our intervention in Syria has prolonged the civil war, and it is not helping there. President Trump campaigned on a more restrained a more restrained foreign policy, and I hope that's what we see. And, we haven't created a better school environment for the children in Iraq, frankly, by destabilizing that country. And I don't think it serves the children of Syria or anybody in the United States to further destabilize Syria.
So you hear that plea from her, you see the images coming out of Syria, and you think the best policy for the United States right now is to do nothing.
What I'm saying is we might end up making the situation worse if we launch airstrikes, if we, against their airplanes, against hard targets on the ground. So we really need to step back and take a good look at this. The first casualty of war is the truth. And it's hard to know exactly what's happening in Syria right now. I'd like to know specifically how that release of chemical gas, if it did occur, and it looks like it did, how that occurred. Because frankly, I don't think Assad would have done that. It does not serve his interests. It would tend to draw us into that civil war even further.
Who do you think is behind it? Who do you think is behind it?
You've got a war going on over there. Supposedly, that airstrike was on an ammo dump. And so I don't know if it was released because there was gas stored in the ammo dump or not. That's plausible. I'm not saying that's what I think happened. But
You're more inclined to believe the position of what Bashar al-Assad is saying and what the Russians are saying right now than more inclined to believe what even your colleagues here in the United States believe is truth, that this is Assad, and what human rights observers over there say is Assad?
I don't think it would have served Assad's purposes to do a chemical attack on his people. So it's hard for me to understand why he would do.
In case you missed that, when CNN cut it purposely, he said, I don't think it's in Assad's interest to gas his own people right now.
That if he did.
Congressman Tom Massey, thanks for your time.
Thank you, Kate.
Sorry that he didn't, agree to go into war like you want him to. Is anyone else appalled by this woman? Bolden, I bet you that's her, can't contain herself from interrupting her expression, shocked, to haltingly ask who Macy thinks is behind the attack. Supposedly, the airstrike was from an ammo dump, and so I don't know if it was released because there was gas stored in the ammo dump or not. He replied, that's plausible. I'm not saying that that's what it was.